Everybody.
Good morning. Good morning.
Steve and I are off the deep end again.
Oh, we've been BSing, and it's like, oh crap, it's showtime.
Yeah, it is.
Oh goodness.
Anyway, good morning, guys. Good to see everybody. As usual, we don't have a topic, so feel free to chime in on anything you'd like to do. If anybody'd like to jump on the show, just let me know, and I'll put. Well, in fact, I'll just stick the link in here. There's Bill. Hey, Bill. Good to see you again. There's the link if anybody wants to jump on and chat.
Bill.
Yes, this is Engineer Hat Day.
Yeah.
I wore mine, and I got to thinking I never wear this up in the train room because it gets a little bit warm up there. And I thought, I've got this nice train hat, engineer's hat, and I never wear it. So I thought, well, I'll just wear it on the show today.
And it's like,
Steve wouldn't got his, but I got a feeling Steve's is authentic.
No, actually, I've got, no, it's not. No, I wore a baseball hat.
Oh, did you? Okay. You didn't wear overalls and engineer hat?
No, I had long hair, and I had to have a hat to keep the hair from flying around.
Yeah. Oh,
now I don't have no hair. Hey, I ain't got no hair.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have to worry about that now.
Well,
oh, Joe Rader's here. Good to see you, Joe. Rob T-Man and John Tanzillo. And
Sheep Boy. What's your first
name,
Sheep Boy? We forget.
We keep asking him, and I keep forgetting.
I forget. It's old person syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. Old people syndrome. And Jason's here. I don't know if Jason's still here or not. He was first one to show up. Oh, Jerry. Hey, good morning, Jerry. Good to see you. Nobody from down under this morning. No, they haven't shown up this morning. So they may be in jail or something. I don't know. You know what's going on down there. They're getting crazy. Shannon probably went out without a mask and got arrested or something.
Yeah, he's in jail.
He'd be voted most likely to, I'm sure. Anyway, if anybody wants to jump on, I put the link in the chat. If you want to jump on and chat, or if you just want to chat in the chat, we'll do that too.
What are you guys all up to today?
I had a question. How many guys have a hat like this?
Hey, good morning, Roy. We got Roy Hardwick.
Oh, Container Man's here. Good morning.
Hey, I understand Vinny's got a Hardwick Bridge now, or Hardwick Gorge, named after Roy.
Oh, there you go.
You're going to be famous.
Thank you.
I don't have anybody to make me coffee, Claude. That's not fair.
I have a wait staff.
Wow.
You notice I waited till she left the room before I said that.
Here, Gussie says good morning to everybody.
Well, and Annie's here. Annie just jumped up on my lap, so she's here going, hey, what's going on?
Gus,
and you can see all the junk in my office here.
Gus needs a bigger bed.
Yeah, he definitely needs a bigger bed.
He was only supposed to be like 20 pounds. I think he's 38 now.
You feed him too much.
Oh, my God.
I was only supposed to be so big, and I'm a little larger than that now. So
am I.
So Roy's in New Mexico, east of Albuquerque. Oh, he's heading off to Gallup.
Well, that's true, Rob. Gus has my lap. Well,
Sheep Boy's going to a train show tomorrow. Oh, got people texting me.
Yes, John, it is cold here. Claude and I were talking about it. We got both heaters working, and it's flipping cold out here.
Yeah, it was only 50 here this morning. Roy says, yeah, he thought he was already famous. Yeah, you were, Roy. Although I wouldn't brag about it. I don't think it's what you think it is.
And I could say, hey, we got John, Grandpa Rails. Good morning. How are you this morning?
Oh, I missed him. Dwight Curley's here. Good morning, Dwight.
Dwight? I didn't see Dwight.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah, I know, Terry. I got to get the wood stove working. Claude and I were talking about that. I got to get the stovepipe cleaned. It's time, that time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it turned off cool here. We had a pretty good storm come through this last first part of the week. A couple of storms came through, and it's really cooled off now, which is kind of nice. It feels more like football weather.
Steve Anderson, good morning. How are you?
Oh, Mr. Anderson, good morning.
Is it cold up in Washington? I'm sure it is.
It probably is, yeah, I would think. Oh, Lord. Don't start that.
It's climate change, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's seasonal change.
Yep. Does this every year. Eventually.
Yeah, they're talking about La Nina, I guess. So we're supposed to get supposedly a nice cold, wet winter up here, if all things pan out.
Well, snow gives you good water replenishment, moisture replenishment.
We need it because, yeah, that gives us the snowpack in the mountains.
Yeah. Well, it also soaks into the soil and stuff much better than rain does. Rain tends to run off a lot more. I know when we get snow here, everything's wet for weeks.
Well, Mount Shasta in Northern California this year had no snow on it, and that's never happened.
Which mountain?
Mount Shasta.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, from all the fires, it all melted.
But no, there's always been snow on there. As long as they've been taking records, there's always been some snow on Mount Shasta, and there was no snow at all. And the Eel River in northwestern California is running dry. And, that's never happened before. The Eel River is really famous for flooding, and the upper Eel has got no water in it.
Yeah.
I wonder how they're going to power all these electric cars with no water.
Don't know. John says they had the remnants of Tropical Storm Pamela come through a couple of days ago. I think that's probably the same storm we got hit with here in Tulsa. I would imagine some of that, at least some of the moisture came up from that. It probably wasn't the storm itself, but some of the moisture got up here because it rained. It rained every day. I got 1 inch in 2 different passes, and then another 3/4 of an inch yesterday. So, we've had 2 3/4 inches here just in the last 3 or 4 days, which is not unheard of here, but it was pretty good rain.
Well, we need it.
Yeah. Well, we needed it too. It was starting to get dry here. It's been green all summer. That's a really neat thing. Here we've had, you could drive down the road and pastures that would be brown by late July, early August were still bright green, like it was springtime. It was really kind of strange around here, but it was like that here until the end of August. That's when they finally started turning a little bit. And of course, now it's a season for them to turn, so everything is turning. But even if we get the rain, it'll still turn brown.
I want some snow. We haven't got snow here in a while.
You can have our snow.
Well, here it's a treat.
Anymore, I don't want snow. If I want snow, I'll go up in the mountains.
I like snow. Hey, good morning, Roy.
I agree, Roy. And John said they had 5 to 8 inches. Oh, wow. Overnight. Yeah. We have had that here before, too. In fact, we have a bunch of detention ponds and stuff that they went in the last 20 years and redid all these detention ponds around town and changed regulations on what neighborhoods had to have for ponds, and the neighborhoods had to be so deep and all this stuff. From a 1980s storm, we had 12 inches in 12 hours.
Wow.
And it killed some people. it flooded half the town. Yeah, it was a mess. And from that, they put all these detention ponds in. We don't get any flooding now. We get a little bit of street, flash flooding in the streets and stuff. We'll do it, but we don't get anything that threatens anybody's homes or anything anymore.
Yeah.
They were parking trains on the railroad bridge over the Arkansas River downtown to keep the bridge from washing away. I don't know if that does any good, but that's what they did.
I agree with Steve. It's not the snow; it's the idiots driving in it.
That's what Steve says. Yeah, can't drive in the snow. Well, Steve, if you think it's bad up there, come to Oklahoma and watch them drive in the snow. Yes, Roy, we do. We get ice storms too. Those are worse. We had one, how long ago was that now? 12, 13 years ago, something like that. It looked like we'd been bombed. Tree limbs down everywhere. There's a lot of residential streets you couldn't drive down because the trees were in the road. It was horrible. We had 4 to 6 inches of ice in one storm, and I mean, it just took everything down. Power lines, everything. It was nasty. Don't like the ice. I'd rather have the snow.
What pictures are you guys talking about? Path Valley Railroad. What's pretty in pictures?
Yeah. What are we talking about here? He's talking to Rob. What did Rob's? Oh, he likes snow if it's somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay.
If you don't have to get out in it, it looks nice. Yeah. I understand that. I used to love the snow. I used to snow ski, so.
I liked it until I got cold. Once I got cold, I was done.
Yeah. Well, I like snow skiing, but my knees are so bad now that I watch somebody skiing and it hurts my knees. You have to do it. I just watch somebody else do it and it hurts.
I was more.
If it helps to get snow, they have to get snow plows from Kansas so they can plow off the highways. Well, we've actually got our own snow plows. Not that they know what they're doing. But it's so funny. It's so funny when they've got a storm predicted here, snowstorm predicted here. They'll load up the snow plows with the sand and salt, which I hate the salt part of it because it just ruins the roads, and they can't figure that out why the roads get so crappy every year. But they'll load them up and they'll park them by all these overpasses, around the city, waiting for the snow to come. And the snow's not coming yet. And last time they did it, it never snowed. So they had all these trucks loaded up with sand and salt and no place to put them.
Good morning, Pappy. How are you?
Good morning, Pappy. And Mr. Ray. Oh, I saw Mr. Rader earlier. Oh, and Lee's here. Good morning, Lee. So yeah, anyway, we're just talking about whatever. Right now it's the weather. So how's the weather where you are?
Global cooling.
Oh yeah, and always. Well, I looked at the storm that came through here, and the center of it was up in Canada, and the tail of it was down through Oklahoma all the way down to the Big Bend area in Texas. That's a pretty good sized storm. Big low pressure. I mean, it looked almost like a hurricane would look when it finally hits landfall and starts to spin out, but it was pretty good size.
I think we're off topic.
We're off topic for what?
Yeah, well, we're talking weather.
Oh. Does that mean we're off topic? I didn't know we were off topic.
We don't have a topic.
Oh, I said he grew up in Southwest Iowa and moved away as quick as he could. Well, I've been through Southwest Iowa on the way to Owatonna, Minnesota. Went up there a couple of times.
I've been to Iowa.
Up in the corn.
I've been to Iowa City once.
Yeah, went through Des Moines and then went past Lake City, Iowa, where the music died, where the Big Bopper and Richie Valens and yeah, where the plane crashed was just west of the highway there. Went by that. Yeah, that's out in the middle of nowhere. If you want to come and have plenty of space, come to the Midwest. I don't consider Oklahoma Midwest. We're more the plains, but you come to the Midwest of the plains. especially the
I agree, Path Valley. There's a topic. It's like, no.
Really? Oh, Jerry wants to know any updates on the Blue Loco. Yes, he does, Jerry.
I need to do some. I've got nothing new on it. I started building a frame for the caboose. Try to take the end of my finger off with a grinder, but other than that, I haven't had a whole lot of time.
Yeah. He's been working on the frame for his caboose.
Yeah, learning how to weld because I've got.
Let me see if I can give me a second and I'll see if I can get these videos or this one video up anyway.
Oh, of the pump, the steam pump.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked a deal with Tim Parks, and this train came with some steam pumps that I wasn't aware of the value of them. And John had 2 working ones, 1 not working, and 1 dummy. And Tim came down a couple weeks ago, and I sent the pumps home with him, and told him, get them working, and you can keep one, and we'll sell off the other ones for money to finish the train. And he's got a couple of them working really good. Excuse me. And one probably going to be working in a dummy, and we're going to sell those off. And he's going to put one of the steam pumps on his locomotive, and it looks really good. If Claude can get the picture. But
yeah, keep talking. I'm looking for it.
Yeah, but I've got here. Let me show you my frame if I can find it. This is part of the caboose frame. I've got actually it's a nice cross. I probably should keep it this way. What do you think? But yeah, I've still got to put supports on the other end, and I'm going to put a caboose similar to this bob. I was going to do a bobber like this, but I'm going to put trucks on it. So I figure I'd start with the frame for the caboose, but I've got to learn to weld because I've got 3 frames I've got to build. I've got a fuel car and a flat car and a caboose. But I'm waiting on Cannonball to answer my email and my phone calls to order trucks. So I have no idea what's up with that. Let's see what's going on with chat.
Yes.
What kind of welder? I've got, I went to Harbor Freight and got their MIG, it's a flux core MIG welder, 170. And so that's kind of a learning curve. I've done gas welding and I'm not very good at it. I'm a good grinder.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh yeah, here.
You got your finger and everything, didn't you?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Good thing I have my welding gloves on because I took the end of my finger off with the grinder. Moral of the story is keep your finger out of the grinder.
Yes. Most definitely keep your finger out of the grinder. Okay, let me get this thing.
Yeah, it's a good welder, Jerry. I just got to learn how to weld. It works good. I didn't MIG this. I just flux cored this. I got it. The reason I got that one was because it supposedly will weld stainless steel with MIG. And that's what I like to do with the bottom of the tank on the tender is MIG weld that. So that's why I got that particular welder. But the problem is it was 220 and that plugs into my dryer outlet. So I had to have a 75-foot extension cord, which is a pain in the, you know how long a 75-foot 10 gauge extension cord is? Weighs as much as the welder.
Yep, it's very heavy. Okay, here it is right here. Now, why is it? I got to do this. That's fine.
Look at that. Isn't that
Although
nice?
I'm not hearing sound. Are you hearing the sound? I'm not hearing the sound on it.
No, it's just kind of. I can't hear it.
Yeah, I don't know why it sounds on. Anyway, that's the pump. You got 3 of these, right? Or 4 of them. One's
Well,
a dummy.
Well, 2 were working, 1 didn't work, and then 1 was a dummy. So that's the one that he's going to keep. And there's 1 other one just like that works, and 1 that he is replacing the O-rings and the gaskets, and it should work.
Yeah, probably. It's just gaskets, I would think. Especially if it's set for any length of time.
But yeah, I was really excited to see that thing actually work.
Yeah.
But that's where I am on that, and have done nothing on this layout at all.
So what else we got here? Oh, Jackie LFC Gerard. Welcome. I don't think I've seen you in here before.
I think you were in last week, weren't you?
Was he in last week? I missed him last week.
I think. I'm not sure. Let's see.
I'm assuming it's a he. Pardon me if I'm wrong, but
Body, 1 hand.
I'm just assuming. You know what that means.
Pumping. Well, it's steam actuated. It's a water pump, really. It functions with steam. They're really
cool. which is water. It's just hot water. Very hot water.
Yeah. Well, that puts water in the boiler.
Jackie is she. Oh, well then, excuse me, Jackie. I'm sorry I did that to you.
Forgive us.
There you go. You know, that's the way it is.
Oh, you're Lee's girlfriend from Enfield and Loft. Oh.
Well, there we go. Now, see, now I've got context.
And we'll forget it.
Welcome. Yes, welcome. Good to see you.
Yeah, you're right, Steve. It's a water supply for the boiler, basically. And he had 2 injectors, and so that'll give him a 3rd way to put water in his boiler. Because mine's going to have an injector, 2 slide pumps, and I don't know if I'm going to put a hand pump in the tender or not. I'm still on the fence about that. What are you laughing at, Dwight? What did I do?
There's no telling. Roy said you will for sure forget. I'm not sure what you're supposed to forget, but it doesn't really matter. It's going to be pretty much anything.
But I will forget it.
Yeah, I'm that way.
You can count on that.
Oh, Path Valley Railroad said he's been building NN3 dual gauge turnouts on fast tracks. Oh, I imagine that's lots of fun.
Oh, nice.
You have better eyesight than I do, and probably better dexterity in your fingers. Because I'm losing that real quick. I've been building small models and for the layout, and keep dropping tweezers and dropping parts. One of the best things I ever bought was that apron that fastens to the underside of the desk in front of me and then goes around my neck, so it catches all that stuff instead of hitting the floor. I don't have to look for it.
I'd lose that too.
And that's Jerry, track work. I haven't done any track work in a while. I got I don't know if you saw the last update I did, which has been too long ago. I got the first little mine that I did. I've got the 2 tracks down by it, and I redid the switch and put that stub switch in. And that's the last track work I've done. I've got my team track in, and then the asphalt put in around it. So, but that's the last track work I've done. I've been building structures. Got my diner finished, got it all lit up and everything. So I need to get it put on the layout. and that'll be so I can do another layout update, and that'll be in the next update. So hopefully that'll happen maybe next week. I'll get that put in and then see about doing another update. But I just finished a little crane. I don't know if you've ever heard of, I don't have the box here with me. It's called a little hook. Brown, what was the name of the company? Brownhorst, I think, was the name of the company that produced the original crane. But anyway, I had a model of it, and I built it. Kind of a tedious build, but it came out really, really nice. It looks real good. That's going to go in my junkyard. I've got all my parts that, scrap parts and stuff that I'm going to put in the junkyard. I got those all primed up, and I got to get those painted. So hopefully I'll get that stuff done, get another layout update put out, because I'm way behind on those.
That would be too. And Steve, in response to your comment, the way these little locomotives work is when you're getting ready to steam up, you actually just fill up the water with a hose, just to go, and there'll be a connector on the side of the boiler to fill it up before you even start steaming. So the way you do that is you just you open the blower on the locomotive, and that allows the water, the pressure in the boiler to release, and you just fill it up, the half the sight glass that you normally would, and then disconnect the hose. And the injectors work when you're under steam, but that you did it when you're filling it up, you just fill it up with the garden hose. I think that did I answer your question? I don't know.
Maybe not. Yeah.
6,000 psi. Okay.
Well, he's talking about, I think this is right, had steam pumps on the ship, but need to supply a supply pump until we got steam pressure, then we would turn on the steam pumps. Yeah, that sounds right.
Well, and see, what some locomotives have an axle pump that each time the revolution of the wheels will inject a little bit of water into the locomotive. The hand pumps are good if you're standing still and for some reason your steam pump or your injector quits working. You have a way of putting water in the boiler when you're not moving. So that's actually a good thing. But the injector, if it's working properly, will put water in the boiler, when you're standing still. But so you like to have more than one way of putting water in the boiler for sure, and definitely when you're standing still. And that's why hand pump would be a good thing to have. And I may put one on the tender, I'm not sure. But I was showing Claude this. There's a really nice little cool brass sight glass that John had that I'm going to use for the tender, a sight glass on the tender for the water level, which is really cool. Never seen one like that before.
Yeah, because I would think that'd be the most important thing to make sure on a steam engine that you don't run out of water.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of places to get water up there at Train Mountain, but this particular tender is not very big. So you're going to have to really watch the water level on that one.
Well, were you going to put an auxiliary water source in your fuel car?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. If I have the room. Probably just have a water bottle in there.
Emergency water good.
Water bottle. Just throw a 5-gallon plastic water bottle in there.
Uh-oh.
Superheated steel.
Now we got something on Steve.
Uh-oh. What?
They ran lower, but it was superheated steam. Can't remember the actual, but not supposed to tell. I signed the paper. Yeah, so tell us on here. We'll get you in trouble one way or another. Oh yeah, you're right, Steve. That's what I was talking about. You got to have water in there. That's more important than fuel to the boiler, because cold boiler's not going to blow up, but
Yeah.
a dry one sure will.
Well, these little boilers on these engines, they don't blow up, but if you do run low on water, you'll wreck the boiler, because
Yeah.
you'll warp the crown sheet, and
Yeah.
that's they're not going to blow up, but you make a new boiler.
No, it probably wouldn't blow up like a full size
Yeah.
steam loco, but you probably pop a seam somewhere or something.
Well, and when these guys are hydroed, they'll hydro them to twice the boiler pressure,
Yeah.
so that they're
Yeah,
hydro.
but once it's like a water heater. Once it gets to a certain point, it doesn't take long for it to really go.
Yeah.
Um, they do the
They're
same
hydro.
thing with they do the same thing with water heaters in your house.
Yeah.
Most of them are designed to run at 150 degree water, or a little more actually. But that kind of pressure, 150 pounds of pressure, is their working pressure. Well, I don't know of any place in the country's got 150 pounds of working pressure.
Right.
But they test them at 300. But I've seen them go through a roof of a house like a rocket.
Oh, sure.
So, where it blew the bottom of them out. Yeah, it's very important. Little T&P valve on the side, safety valve, very, very, very important on a water heater. Never block that off.
Well, these are the running pressure generally about 100 pounds. The safeties pop at 105 and 110, but they're hydroed at 250.
Mm-hmm.
So that they're not going to blow up.
No, shouldn't anyway.
No, theoretically, you might pop a flue or something.
Well, the water heaters that I've known that I've heard of that are blown up and done that from getting too hot, were they capped off the safety valve or didn't have one on it at all.
Right.
Because some of the real old water heaters, they didn't put safeties on them.
Mm-hmm.
But you get a gas valve that sticks open and doesn't shut off, or a thermostat that doesn't shut off and keeps heating the water. Yeah, that can be dangerous. And I've run across those.
Yeah.
I've seen it push the hot water back out into the service line in the yard. So, yeah, it can be very dangerous. So always have a safety valve on your water heater.
Yeah, Jerry.
even if it's electric.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's about 100 pounds, Jerry, is what they run at. Some a little bit higher, but about 100 pounds. What am I missing? Hey, we got Dwayne from Dwayne's Fork and Spoon Railroad.
No, it's capping off a safety valve isn't a good idea. There was a elementary school here. I think it was elementary school or junior high school here in the Oklahoma City area, not Tulsa, but Oklahoma City area, that blew up the T&P. And of course, this was a commercial heater, which was probably 250 gallon or better. And I don't know what the safety valve size was on it, but it was probably 1.25 inches, and it was leaking. So he didn't have one to replace. The engineer didn't have one to replace. So what did he do? He capped it. He put a plug in it until he could get a new one. Well, normally when those start leaking, those safety valves leak because the spring on them gives out and they just wear out and you got to replace the safety. It's not because the heater's overheating. Well, in this case, it was because the heater was overheating, wasn't shutting off, and he plugged it thinking it was the other reason. And before he could get it replaced, it blew half the school up. So yeah, not a good idea. Jerry, yeah, I'm an ex-plumber. Let's put it that way. I started plumbing back in '77. Is when I became an apprentice, or a helper. We didn't call it apprentice because we weren't union. But yeah, crawling in the muck and the mud and digging and all that fun stuff. Yeah, it's hard on the back, hard on the knees. We were a repair plumbing company, so it was much tougher than the new work. I call the new plumbers tinker toy builders because it's all plastic pipe and easy to put together and stuff. None of the old stuff like we used to do.
trust shark bites, Blood?
Yeah, I've come to trust them. In fact, I used one here not too long ago on a repair, and it was on a water heater.
Yeah.
I have not run across one that's failed yet. I've seen videos and stuff on them, and the jury's still out. I wouldn't use one in my house just because that's just the way I am. I want to, but I'm also not crazy about PEX pipe, the plastic pipe that they use all over the country now. And the reason for that is this house is just over 6 years old, and I had a leak 2 years ago on my PEX pipe. Luckily, it was above floor, and I found it right after it started. But it was on a hot water circulating line that I'd had put in when they built the house. And of course, the plumbers that did this house were awful. I should have been over here checking them a lot more than I was. But I found out after the fact that PEX pipe is not really rated, or not, I say rated, it's not suggested to be used on a consistent hot water circulating line, which ours was. So the pump's always on, always circulating hot water. I have a timed one on there now. It only comes on certain parts of the day. But it split the pipe open. And copper pipe, like we used to use all the time, of course, it would corrode and get a pinhole or something in it. So yeah, eventually it would leak too. But I had used some pipe, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was pre-PEX, and it came from Canada. It was plastic inside and out, but it had an aluminum tube that was covered in plastic on the inside and the outside. So you could bend it like soft copper, and it would stay its shape. Unlike PEX, PEX has a memory and wants to go back to where the roll was. So you could bend it and it would stay its shape, but it also was more rigid. Mm-hmm. And I had it on a constant water circulating system for almost 10 years and didn't have a problem with it. Never had a problem with it. And you could use a regular compression fitting on it like you'd use on copper. You could do that on PEX too, but it won't work as well. It won't last as long. Yeah, I'm just not a big PEX fan, but that's what everybody uses now. It's kind of like the polybutylene they used, 20 years ago, the gray plastic. Mm-hmm. They ended up with class action suits all over the country on that.
Yeah, I've used the shark bites, but they just seem like, long term, are they going to last?
If you do them, yeah, you want to do them right. Put them on properly, and they should be okay. And it also depends. Never put them where you can't get to it. Don't ever put them under a slab. Don't put them in a place that you're going to cover up with drywall or something like that. Always have them where you can get to them. Mm-hmm. And that'll kind of ease that problem. And I always check my plumbing. I go around the house every once in a while, and I'll check the water heater closet, make sure nothing's leaking in there, and then I'll check under all the sinks and make sure nothing's dripping under there, because it didn't take long for water to cause problems. So no. I just do it because I know what can happen. But it kind of goes with everything else. If you own a house, just keep an eye on everything. Yeah. It doesn't mean you have to do the maintenance all the time on it, but you got to keep an eye on it in case something happens. You can take care of it before it becomes a big problem. Anyway, enough about plumbing.
Plumbing and weather.
Yeah, Path Valley, yeah, sweating copper, I can sweat copper in my sleep. And so then when I had to start soldering wiring, do wire soldering, it's a completely different animal. Basically the same concept, but it's still a different animal. Yeah, swag fittings aren't any fun. That's a lot of work. If you got a big job, it's a lot of work. For those of you that don't know what a swag fitting is, it's where you flare the copper out. You put a fitting on, a nut on, flare the copper and put the fitting up and tighten the nut down. Used a lot on steam lines, stuff like that. Flare fittings. Say again?
I'm going to be doing a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, it used to be you could buy a lot of the 3/8 OD flare supply lines and stuff like that would have worked really good on the Loco, I would think.
Yeah. It's all
But,
going to be
but they're kind of hard to find anymore. You know, you don't see that in a supply shop anymore. Especially someplace like Home Depot or Lowe's, you're going to find nothing but plastic stuff mostly, or the braided supply lines and stuff like that, which are nice. I like those real well.
Keep me warm.
Hey, James, good to see you. Better late than never.
Yeah.
We're currently talking plumbing, but we can always get off of that for sure. Okay, Path Valley's got a new subject here. Always looking for new loads for his railroad. I thought cars would be good, but my area is pre-auto racks. CB&Q hold truck auto trailers on flat cars. So that's how I'm doing it. Well, there you go. Yeah. There's some interesting videos on YouTube on how guys do loads for flat cars. And doing the ones I liked were the ones where they actually, I think they use tissue paper, if I remember right, or like Kleenex, and put over the whatever load they wanted underneath the tarp, and then use like a diluted white glue solution to get it to drape like a canvas tarp.
That's cool.
And thought it looked really cool. Yeah, looked really good. Well, there's Allie. About time you showed up, Allie.
Hey, Allie.
Excuse me. My throat's kind of clogged up this morning.
It's the cold weather.
Probably.
Had to get the dog up here to keep me warm. I'm freezing out here.
Yeah. Yeah, Roy says tissue paper is tarps. I was thinking that's what they used on that video that I saw, and it came out really nice. I mean, I was surprised at how realistic they look like a canvas tarp when they got done. And I wish I knew what the name of the video was. I'd send you to it, but you can probably look it up, find it. Pardon me again. So anyway, what else are we talking about?
I don't know. I'm trying to look back in chat. You
Hey,
didn't
Roy,
mention anything, Alan. We were talking weather and plumbing.
Hey, Roy, that tissue paper is tarps. That bodes the question: if your load is tissue paper, can you use tissue paper as a tarp? We got those philosophical questions we can get on the show. Steve's welding, Claude knows plumbing, and people have weather, Allie. Not everybody has weather.
Jerry, I'm going to get this stove working for next week. It's too cold out here. Yes, I will. I promise.
Well, he said he has to sweep the chimney.
Yeah.
Because that's a wood burner.
Yeah, it's an old pot belly. I don't know if you can see it.
So it looks like me and Steve.
Looks like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll heat that place.
Oh, yeah.
That'll heat your whole shop.
Yeah. And then some. They're very efficient. Gus, you stink. Oh, my God.
He probably thinks the same thing about you, Steve.
Oh, my God. It's the dog, I promise. You know, that's why you have dogs.
You got what?
That's why you have dogs, so you can blame them.
Yeah. Well, I've been giving Lily a probiotic, which is good for her, I guess. But boy, in the evenings, she can run you out of the house.
Oh, nothing like a Frenchie.
Yeah, bulldogs are bad about it anyway.
These are bad.
Was there a hat meeting you missed? Yeah. You got your engineer hat? I just never wear it, so I thought I'd wear it for the show today, and Steve put his on, so we've got engineer hats.
Because we're running the show.
Nice day so far in North Carolina, but it's supposed to rain later than get cold. Yeah, that's exactly what happened here. We've had rain all week, and then it turned off cool, and supposed to be below 70 for highs until Monday. I think Monday is supposed to be 72. So yeah, big change from where we were at. We were at 95 just a couple of weeks ago. It was still pretty hot here. Excuse me again. Whoever looking for loads, check out Port of Catoosa, Oklahoma, island port that uses barges. It's near Claude and Tulsa. Yes, it is. It's just northeast of here, as a matter of fact, and it's for those of you that aren't, well, probably everybody except for Roy that's not familiar with Port of Catoosa. It's the end terminus on the Arkansas River Canal, where they come up the Arkansas River from the Mississippi through Arkansas, and they've got a series of gates and stuff that they come upstream, and they haul barges up and down from all the way from here all the way down to New Orleans. And it's pretty good sized place. In fact, I ought to take pictures out there sometime. I'll try and do that. It's not that far east of here. I'll take some pictures of the barge loading area and maybe put them on here so you guys can see what it looks like. It's pretty impressive, actually. It's not huge like you'd see in a major city or something like that, but it's a pretty good sized facility. And it sits on with the Verdigris River. What they did with the Verdigris River, that's a tributary of the Arkansas, is they just widened it and made a canal out of it all the way down to the Arkansas River from here, which is not very far because the Arkansas runs through town here. But anyway.
What do they generally haul? I mean, what do they load?
It's mainly grains. Yeah, they've got grain silos and stuff there. So I'm assuming it's mainly grains. They probably could haul some other stuff. And they probably do. I can't answer that question actually, but I know they do grains because they've got pretty good sized grain silos there. And that's what I was talking about taking pictures of. So anybody wanted to model something like that, it'd be a good one to get some ideas from. I'm sure. That Valley had a hopper car jumping the rails, found the microtrain trucks I put on were riding flat on the rails. The inner wheel sets were lifting slightly, so I had to put a spacer under them. Okay, he's got me lost. I'm assuming you mean between the car and the truck. Also check the gauge on the wheel sets, because if you've got one that's a little bit wide, the flanges will ride up on the rails. So that could be the problem too. Take your NMRI gauge and check the wheel sets on it. I never do that unless I'm having a problem with the car, and then I'll check it. But it's probably not a bad idea to check all your cars with that. Jackie had to leave. Well, thanks for showing up, Jackie.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. And we won't forget you're a girl.
Yeah. And you're Lee's girl.
Yeah, Lee's girl. There you go. Well, she can probably understand Lee. So we might get her as an interpreter one day.
Well, if we can understand Shannon, we can understand anybody.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, Allie says too, it could be wrong size wheels. Yeah. I need 36. Yeah, it can be. That I wouldn't think that'd be as much of a factor as the gauge being wrong, but I guess it could happen like that. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, Steve says tractors are always good loads for flat cars. Yeah, tractors of all kinds, whether they're a ditching tractor or a farm tractor, any tractor like that's good. A good flat car load.
I think an old steam locomotive would be a good load.
Yeah. Well, and you'll see that every once in a while. You'll see one on there that they're moving it from one location to another. Of course, anymore they do them on flat cars. I mean, on flatbed trucks. That's interesting to see a locomotive boiler going down a highway on a flatbed truck.
Actually, wheels are good loads too. A wheel car load, just extra car axles and wheels.
Oh yeah, Yeah, like a wheel car wheel and tie car. In fact, I've got one of those I'm going to build for mine. Allie says she actually made the bogies too big for the wheels. Okay. So they're 3D printed, I'm assuming. Oh, yeah. And Roy, Roy, I've never actually been to the port. The place I'm talking about taking pictures of is on the verdigris over east of town here, and that's the grain loading area. But the port, I know they take pipe in and out of there. Drilling pipe and stuff, because my wife is in that business. So I know they take pipe up and down the river too. But he's right. Port Cadusa has its own switching railroad locomotives over there. I've never been into the port. I've only been by it. I've never had any reason to go into the port. So I've not ever done that. And I'm not sure how strict their I don't want to call it.
Do they haul coal on those?
I've not seen any barges with coal because they don't mine coal around here. Mm-hmm. Although we get coal trains through here all the time. So I don't know I'm assuming they're bringing it in because I see full trains with hoppers full of coal coming in a lot of times, coming from the north. I'm assuming. I had heard at one point that we ship coal from other parts of Oklahoma to like Wyoming, and their coal comes down here because of the sulfur contents. To me, it doesn't matter where you burn it. If it's got high sulfur content, it's got high sulfur content. But yeah, I guess it would be up to the states or something what they can burn. But anyway, I heard that a long time ago. I don't know how true it is. Path Valley Cumberland Mine Railroad might be an interesting railroad. It's all self-contained. I've heard of the Cumberland Mine Railroad. I saw that somewhere. I think somebody had it on one of their videos. Maybe some pictures. Maybe they were doing some rail fanning of it. But I think it was that one. That sounds familiar.
You're too big. You are too big.
Roy says a lot of buildings without water access, but do have rail access. Yeah, well, like I say, they have a lot of pipe comes through there through the port, and I'm assuming they come up the barges because I know a lot of it that my wife deals with comes from Korea. They used to get some from China. I don't know if they still do or if anybody buys it from China, but they still get some Korean pipe in and stuff. So I know it comes over on ships. It takes them forever to get it here. So it may be coming up the Arkansas River, up the Mississippi to the Arkansas, the verdigris. Hey, Jerry, that might have been Pappy that I saw that on. He may have had some pictures of it on there.
Allie, Thanksgiving here is always the last Thursday in November. I think. Isn't that how it works?
Yes, last Thursday in November. Can you American guys? I like how she says American.
American. We're American. Well, when I first read that, I thought she said, "Can any of you Mexican guys?" And it's like, nope.
So where are we at? We got a few minutes left. My dog wants me again.
Yep, got it. Now it's
must be feeding time. Yeah.
Time.
So you're here. You want to get up here and say hello? No.
It's pee time.
Yep.
It's like pee time. Huh. Yep. Are you a puppy? Huh.
Yeah. Steve says the last Thursday that has a Friday after it. That is true.
Yeah. Most Thursdays have a Friday after.
Yeah.
I hope.
Well, they have a Friday after them, but in the same month,
Oh,
I think is what he means, in November.
oh, okay.
Okay, I'll be done in a minute.
Last Thursday,
Promise.
Friday.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, where were we?
I don't know. I know where I am.
About 42. So I'll have to get out there and take some pictures, or at least take some pictures of the grain loading facility, because it would make a good model. Although I don't know if they've got a rail line going to that port area. I guess you could always put one in on a model, but they may have. I never have. It's on the highway, and it's a bridge, is where you see it. So I don't ever stop there and look, but I'll have to go out there sometime and look, because it might make a good modeling point on somebody's layout if they want.
Yeah.
If they're doing any kind of water stuff like Steve's got on his, it would be a good modeling spot.
Yeah, barges are kind of cool.
But anyway, well, if we don't have anything else to talk about, Steve.
I got nothing to talk about. I'm just sitting here enjoying the show, actually.
You've been enjoying the show.
Yeah. Okay, see, it's like election day, the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. Okay.
Except it's Thursday.
Except it's Thursday. Who's on first?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You know, I need a tugboat. You're right, Steve. When you need a barge, you need a tug.
You got to have a tug, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a neat thing in Steve's article that he wrote. And I know we showed you guys this before, but I'm going to grab the magazine right quick. Excuse me.
Yeah, if I could find a decent size in-scale barge, I'd love to find one, but I can't find one. I've looked online. I've looked everywhere. And the barge kits are a couple $100.
For you guys that don't know, Steve wrote an article in here.
Oh.
I even have a signed copy. Look at there.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, though, because they had their own, it was the car barges in San Francisco Bay, and they had their own tugboat.
Yeah, the Santa Fe Navy. Yeah, the Hastings was the last one.
Yeah, here it is right here.
That was a fun article. That took me a year to write that article.
Yeah, it's a very good article. And I have to read the rest of the magazine because there's a lot more in here. There's some stuff like up on Lake Michigan and stuff. And, of course, all the mining they had and stuff up here. Get the pictures right. Here, let me take this off of here.
You can, anybody that wants that, it's the November 2019 issue of Railfan and Railroad Magazine.
See, and there's Steve's inch and a half scale Loco on the barge there.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, November 2019, Railfan and Railroad. You can probably find it somewhere. Anyway,
Yeah,
that's what the cover looks like, but it's a very good article. And if you've had any water stuff like Steve's got on his, it'd be a good place to get some ideas for doing that.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know that Santa Fe had a Navy.
Did you get that, Jerry? It's the November issue, 2019 November issue, Railfan and Railroad. And it says Ship Ahoy on the front of it, so it should be pretty easy to find.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun article.
Yeah, it's very informative. I didn't even realize they had that there.
A lot of people didn't know that.
And I think they still had it the first time I was in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
My sister was stationed up there, so I'd gone up to visit her. But I wouldn't have known about that. She wouldn't have known about that either. So
it ended in 1983 when the barge mysteriously caught fire.
Well, yeah, it was still going then because I went up. The first time I went up was in 77, and then I went back for her wedding in 79. So yeah, it was still
Well,
there.
Santa Fe had been petitioning the ICC for several years before that to discontinue barge service to San Francisco because they weren't making any money. I mean, it was costing them money, so they wanted to get rid of it. And then mysteriously one night, the ferry slip burned in Richmond, and that terminated the service.
Amazing how that happens, huh?
It's just funny how that fire happened.
Well, Steve says Seattle still sends train barges up to Alaska.
Oh, yeah.
And Jerry says they still have a car afloat in Brooklyn to New Jersey.
Well, that's what Joe G was, going to do with his lad. He's modeling the Alaska Railroad. He wanted to put in a car float.
Yeah.
If y'all remember,
Pretty cool. That's a long way to take a car float.
Oh, yeah. Joe
From
G.
Seattle all the way to Alaska.
Yeah. Oh, it's a double decker too.
Oh, wow.
It's a big.
That'd be
barge.
neat to see then.
It's a big barge.
I would imagine. Well, that's our hour, guys. Thanks for joining us, and had a good time again, as usual.
Always. We always have fun.
We always come up with something to talk about.
Yep.
Remember, never plug off your safety valve on your water heater.
No, and keep your finger out of your grinder.
Yes. Yeah, that's the other important thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us, and we'll
Later.
see everybody next week. Take care.
Bye-bye.